West Virginia hides deep layers of history beneath its rolling hills and winding river valleys. From enormous burial mounds raised more than 2,000 years ago to ancient campsites along the Kanawha River, these archaeological sites reveal how early native communities lived, hunted, built, and honored their dead. Each place offers a quiet yet powerful glimpse into a past that still lingers beneath the soil of Appalachia.
St. Albans Archaeological Site. Along a bend in the Kanawha River in West Virginia, there is a quiet stretch of land that most people would pass without a second glance. It doesn't look remarkable. There are no towering stone walls or visible ruins, only trees, soil, and the steady flow of the river. Yet beneath that ground lies one of the most important prehistoric sites in the eastern United States. The St. Albans site preserves nearly 10,000 years of human history, layered carefully one above another. Its story began to emerge in the early 1960s when the river slowly eroded its banks, exposing fragments of stone tools. People noticed shaped stones that were clearly not natural. Archaeologists soon began controlled excavations. What they uncovered was not a single campsite, but a deep sequence of repeated occupations. Layer after layer of soil revealed evidence of people returning to the same place over thousands of years. The earliest levels date to the early Archaic period, roughly between 8,000 and 6,000 BC. This means people were camping here not long after the last ice age ended. The climate was shifting, forests were spreading, and large ice age animals had disappeared, replaced by smaller game. The people who came to St. Albans were hunter-gatherers, moving with the seasons and following food sources. The river was central to their lives. It provided fish, fresh water, travel routes, and attracted animals that came to drink. What makes this site especially important is how the soil built up over time. Flooding from the Kanawha River deposited thin layers of sediment again and again. Each time people camped there, they left behind tools, stone flakes, hearths, and other traces. Then, nature covered those traces with new layers of earth. Because of this steady process, the deposits remained separated rather than mixed. This gave archaeologists something rare, a clear chronological sequence. At many sites, objects from different periods become jumbled together. At St. Albans, the layers function like pages in a book. As researchers excavated carefully, they could match specific styles of stone projectile points to distinct layers. This allowed them to build a detailed timeline for the region. Different tool styles appeared in order, showing how designs evolved gradually over thousands of years. The changes were not sudden, but slow, practical, and human.
Most of the artifacts found at the site were stone tools, projectile points used for spears, cutting tools, scrapers for processing hides, drills, and knives. Evidence of hearths was also discovered, marking places where fires once burned. Charcoal remains helped establish dates. Altogether, the site showed that this riverbank was not a one-time stop, but a repeatedly used seasonal camp. Groups returned here again and again. When you imagine those early people standing beside the Kanawha River, it becomes clear why they chose this location. The valley would have been rich with life. Deer moved through the forests, fish filled the river, and nuts and berries grew nearby. The open view along the river also made it easier to watch for game or other groups. Over time, tool styles continued to change. Later archaic layers revealed different point shapes and new techniques of working stone. The differences are subtle but consistent. These gradual changes tell a story of adaptation. People were learning, experimenting, and refining what worked best for survival. There is something powerful in seeing that steady problem-solving preserved in the soil. The site was eventually added to the National Register of Historic Places. That recognition is important because sites like this are fragile. Once disturbed, the layers cannot be restored. Archaeology requires patience because every inch of soil may hold meaning. What makes St. Albans feel almost mysterious is not drama, but quiet depth. There are no lost cities or hidden treasure here. The mystery is more human. Who were these people? What language did they speak? What stories did they share beside their fires? We can study their tools, but their voices are gone. Standing near the river today, it takes imagination to picture that distant past. Modern roads and houses now surround the area. The world has changed completely. Yet beneath the surface are layers that remained undisturbed for thousands of years until they were carefully studied. It creates a strange feeling, as if you were walking above time itself. There are both strengths and challenges connected to the site today. On the positive side, it is widely recognized for its importance. It played a key role in shaping understanding of early archaic cultures in the Ohio Valley. Research conducted there helped refine dating methods and the classification of stone tools, influencing archaeology even now. The site is also protected under preservation laws, reducing the risk of careless damage. On the negative side, it is not a large public destination with visible structures. Many people nearby are unaware of its significance. Parts of the site were affected before preservation laws became stronger. River erosion, construction, and development continue to pose risks for sites located along waterways. Even natural forces can slowly erase history. In my view, St. Albans is powerful because it is grounded in reality. It does not rely on dramatic legends. It shows how even simple campsites can carry deep importance. People often expect ancient history to appear monumental, but real history is often quiet. Small fire pits, broken tools, and repeated visits to the same place. From a balanced perspective, the site deserves greater awareness, though in a respectful way. Understanding that humans stood in that same location for nearly 10,000 years changes how we see the land. It becomes more than scenery. It becomes shared human ground. At the same time, not every site should become a major attraction. Increased traffic can damage fragile remains. There must be a balance between education and preservation. In that sense, its relatively low profile may actually help protect it. The current condition of the St. Albans site is stable but understated. It remains a recognized archaeological location along the Kanawha River. It is protected, though not heavily developed for tourism. Some risk from erosion still exists due to its riverbank setting, and nearby development requires careful management. The positive side is that it is officially documented and valued by researchers. The downside is that many people pass by without realizing what lies beneath their feet. Today, the site stands as a quiet record of thousands of years of human life, resting beside the river and preserving its layered story within the soil. Grave Creek Mound Archaeological Complex. In the town of Moundsville, along the narrow northern panhandle of West Virginia, a massive rise of earth stands that was never shaped by nature. At first glance, it feels natural. Grass blankets its surface. The slope is even and quiet. Trees once surrounded it, yet this hill was carefully built by human hands more than 2,000 years ago. The Grave Creek Mound is one of the largest conical burial mounds in North America, and it still stands as a powerful reminder of an ancient culture that shaped the Ohio Valley long before modern cities appeared. The mound is widely attributed to the Adena culture, a Native American society that lived in the region from around 1000 BC to roughly 200 BC. The mound itself is believed to have been constructed between about 250 and 150 BC. When you see it in person, its sheer scale is the first thing that stands out. It rises around 62 feet high and stretches about 240 feet across at its base. That is comparable to a 5-story building built without machines, without metal tools, and without modern engineering. Consider the effort behind it. Soil had to be gathered from nearby areas, likely carried in baskets, lifted by hand, and slowly layered over time. This was not the work of a few individuals. It required coordination, leadership, and shared purpose. It points to a structured society with beliefs strong enough to inspire such an enormous project. The mound was not created in a single moment. Archaeological evidence shows it was built in stages. At first, a smaller burial mound was formed. Over time, additional layers of earth were added, covering earlier burials and expanding the structure. This process may have continued across years or even generations. Each layer marked another burial, another ritual, another moment of meaning. Inside the mound, early excavations revealed burial chambers. In the 1830s, long before archaeology followed modern scientific standards, excavators tunneled into the mound. They uncovered two main burial vaults deep within its center, containing human remains along with grave goods such as ornaments, tools, and decorative objects. These items suggest that those buried there were individuals of high status, possibly leaders. It is important to understand that burial mounds were more than simple graves. For the Adena people, they likely carried deep spiritual significance. The mound may have served as a ceremonial site, a gathering place, and a symbolic link between the living and their ancestors. Building such a massive structure over the dead reflects respect, belief, and a strong cultural tradition. One of the more debated objects associated with the site is the Grave Creek Stone. During the 1838 excavation, a small Evan stone with carved symbols was reportedly discovered inside the mound. The markings did not clearly match known Native American systems. Over time, some claimed it suggested contact with ancient civilizations from Europe or the Middle East, while others argued it was a hoax. Today, most experts remain highly skeptical of its authenticity. Regardless of that controversy, the true importance of the mound does not depend on that artifact. The mound itself tells the real story. As Moundsville developed around it, the site was treated in ways that seem unusual today. In the 1800s, a hotel was built nearby, and at one point, an observation platform was even placed on top to attract visitors. Tunnels were cut through it for exploration. By modern standards, this appears careless. At the time, however, preservation laws were limited or non-existent. The concept of protecting ancient sites was still evolving. Over time, attitudes shifted. The mound began to be seen as something worth preserving rather than exploiting. It eventually became one of the earliest archaeological landmarks in the United States to receive serious protection. Today, it forms part of the Grave Creek Mound Archaeological Complex, which includes a museum focused on the Adena culture and other native groups from the region. Standing at the base of the mound now feels calm and grounded. The grass is maintained, and a staircase allows visitors to reach the top. From there, the Ohio River Valley stretches out in all directions. The modern town sits close by. Cars pass and buildings line the streets. The contrast is striking. Nearly 2,000 years separate the mound's construction from the present world around it. One of the strongest positives of the site today is its preservation. The mound is protected by the state. It has been designated a National Historic Landmark. The museum offers educational programs, exhibits, and artifacts that help explain Adena culture. Students visit regularly, and researchers continue to study the site. Awareness today is far greater than it was in the 19th century. Another advantage is accessibility.
Unlike many ancient locations that are remote or difficult to reach, Grave Creek Mound is easy to visit. People can approach it, climb it, and directly experience its scale. That physical connection can deepen appreciation for ancient history. However, there are also drawbacks. Early excavations caused damage that cannot be undone. The tunnels cut through the mound disrupted its original structure, and some burial information was lost forever.
Modern development now surrounds the site. While the mound itself is preserved, the natural landscape that once framed it has changed. Traffic noise and nearby buildings reduce the sense of isolation it may once have had. There is also a deeper issue shared by many burial mounds across North America. For many Native communities, these sites are sacred. In the past, they were often excavated without consent or cultural sensitivity. Although preservation today is more respectful, that history of disturbance remains important to acknowledge. In a balanced view, Grave Creek Mound is one of the most significant historic sites in West Virginia. It does not rely on dramatic legends to hold meaning. Its power comes from its scale and its age. Standing on top of it means standing on earth carried there by people who lived more than 2,000 years ago. That alone creates a powerful connection across time. At the same time, it is important to approach such places with perspective. We can admire the engineering skill and social organization of the Adena culture while also recognizing the mistakes made during early excavations. Preservation today is strong, but the past cannot be changed. The current state of Grave Creek Mound is stable and carefully managed. The mound remains intact, covered in grass, open to visitors, and supported by an on-site museum complex. The positives include official protection, educational outreach, and clear recognition of its cultural importance. The negatives include irreversible damage from 19th century tunneling and the impact of surrounding urban growth. Even with these challenges, the mound still stands prominently above Moundsville, much as it did more than 2,000 years ago. It continues to hold its layered history quietly within its earth, a lasting monument built by hands that shaped the Ohio Valley long before modern America existed.
Arbuckle's Fort. In the hills of Greenbrier County, West Virginia, there once stood a rough wooden frontier fort shaped by fear, necessity, and survival. It was never meant to be grand or impressive. It was built simply because families settling the frontier needed a place of protection. In the late 1700s, this region was tense, unstable, and often violent. Settlers were moving westward, and conflict with Native American tribes was part of life along this contested borderland. Arbuckle's Fort is generally associated with the period around Dunmore's War, 1774, a conflict between colonial Virginia forces and several Native groups, including the Shawnee and Mingo. At that time, the Greenbrier Valley was still considered frontier territory. Families who arrived there were stepping into land shaped by overlapping claims and rising tension. Captain Matthew Arbuckle, a militia officer and frontier leader, is closely linked to the site. The fort, named after him, was likely a simple stockade, upright logs placed tightly together to form a defensive enclosure. Inside the walls were probably small cabins, storage areas, and open space where families gathered during threats. A fort, in this context, was not a military base in the modern sense. It was a community refuge. During peaceful periods, settlers lived on scattered farms, but when danger approached, they retreated behind the stockade walls. It functioned as a last line of defense. Archaeological investigations at the site have revealed traces of that frontier existence. Post-hole patterns in the soil mark where wooden walls once stood. These dark soil stains are all that remain of heavy timbers cut, shaped, and raised more than 2 centuries ago. Excavations have also uncovered artifacts such as musket balls, gun parts, nails, ceramics, and household items. These objects may be small, but they tell a clear story. Musket balls reflect defense and conflict. Nails and iron hardware reveal construction methods. Fragments of pottery hint at cooking, meals, and daily routines. This was not only a military position, it was a living space. Children likely moved within those walls. Families cooked over open fires. Men kept watch through the night, listening for movement in the surrounding woods. The fort existed during the broader era of the American Revolution, when frontier communities were caught between colonial conflict and local survival. Communication was slow and supplies were limited.
People relied heavily on one another for protection and endurance. One of the most tragic events often mentioned in relation to the region is the killing of the Shawnee leader Cornstalk in 1777 at nearby Fort Randolph. While that event did not occur at Arbuckle's Fort itself, it reflects the extreme tension and mistrust of the time. Fear and misunderstanding frequently led to violence on both sides. When archaeologists study Arbuckle's Fort, they are not only reconstructing walls, they are also trying to understand life under constant uncertainty. Frontier forts across the region share similar patterns, built quickly, used collectively, and shaped by anxiety and survival. Settlers believed they were defending new homes, while native communities saw encroachment on long-established lands. Arbuckle's Fort stood within that wider conflict. The physical structure itself is long gone. Wood decays over time, especially in exposed frontier conditions. What remains today lies beneath the surface. Archaeology has identified post patterns and artifact concentrations that outline the fort's likely shape and interior activity areas. To an untrained eye, the site looks like open countryside. The land is calm now, fields, trees, and gentle hills stretching across the valley. It feels peaceful. That contrast is striking. It is difficult to imagine the tension that once existed here. Guards watching the tree line, families rushing inside at warning calls, the uncertainty of each night. One positive aspect of the site today is that it has been documented and studied. Archaeological research has helped confirm its existence and general layout. It contributes valuable insight into how frontier forts in Western Virginia were built and used, adding depth to early Appalachian settlement history. It also helps historians better understand daily life on the frontier. Another positive is that the surrounding landscape remains largely rural. It has not been heavily developed, which helps preserve what survives underground. In many ways, the land itself has protected the site by avoiding major disturbance. On the negative side, Arbuckle's Fort does not have reconstructed buildings or a formal visitor center. For most people, there is nothing immediately visible to interpret on site. Without visible structures, its significance can be easily overlooked. Like many archaeological locations, it is also vulnerable to erosion, farming activity, and accidental disturbance. Such sites depend heavily on awareness and careful protection. In a neutral view, Arbuckle's Fort represents something deeply human rather than heroic. It is not a symbol of triumph, but of survival in a difficult and uncertain time. It also reminds us that frontier history is not simple. It involved settlers trying to protect their families and native communities defending their homelands. Both lived under pressure. Both experienced loss. I think sites like this are important because they slow down our understanding of history. Instead of simplified stories of heroes and enemies, they reveal real people making difficult decisions with limited information. At the same time, these places must be handled with care, preserved, studied, and interpreted honestly without romanticizing or erasing complexity. The current condition of Arbuckle's Fort is quiet and understated. The original wooden structure no longer exists. What remains are archaeological traces preserved beneath the soil. The land is open and rural, with no large-scale reconstruction or tourist infrastructure. The positive side is that it has been identified and recorded as a significant frontier site. The negative side is that it receives little public attention and can easily be passed by without notice. Today, it rests quietly in Greenbrier County, a subtle but powerful reminder of a time when simple wooden walls once stood against uncertainty on the early American frontier.